Hamad here. Welcome to my channel, Cloud with Hamad, DIY Cloud Learning to Inspire. For today, our cloud series with AWS, I will be deploying highly available WordPress website in conjunction with Amazon RDS multi-AZ deployment. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like, and share with my friends. I would really appreciate that. Now, without further ado, let's go to my notes. Alright guys, for my notes, first thing first, what we'll do is we'll actually deploy an RDS, AWS RDS MySQL on it, and then we also will deploy an EC2 machine. In that EC2 machine, I will install WordPress. So first we'll make sure that we have this machine ready to have a web server. So we'll do Apache first, and then once Apache is successfully deployed to the website, we'll just replace it with WordPress. Once that is done, everything is working, connected with the RDS. We'll add the RDS endpoint to this EC2 machine, and then we will take a snapshot up here in this WordPress machine. Once we have snapshot, we'll actually have run another machine off that snapshot, which will have WordPress already running on it. Then what we'll do is we'll deploy these two machines onto an application load balancer. Once we have the application load balancer endpoint, we will add that endpoint to Route 53, and that should actually be good enough, because what we'll do is we'll get a website that would have WordPress running off these two. You can also auto scale. I have tried that auto scale as well. That works, but I've just kept it simple for now. But you can have auto scale from that machine, and then it can be deployed in different zones. Also, another thing that we will do is we will actually install same thing here. We'll have one master database. We will replicate. We'll do is we'll so over here, let's do this here. So first thing, well, once we deploy the RDS, it is a single zone, so it's not multi-AZ. So what we'll do is we'll enable the multi-AZ. Once that is enabled, we'll take a replica, and then once we have replica, we will have two of them, like master and slave, in two zones. And then once that is happening, what we'll do is we'll create a replica of that master, and then we'll promote it to have another database in different AZ. We'll use that AZ's endpoint, use that database endpoint, and we'll update the Route 53 to make it working just fine. So what's happened is, let's say if one of the RDS goes down, another one is still working because of we have another read replica running off another zone. All right, so this is a very heavy pack lab. I do have modules here that says that, hey, we're going to create RDS instance, EC2 instance, configure the database, configure WordPress. So and then I'll just clean it up. Now, without further ado, let's get into the deployment. Alright guys, so I'm already logged into my AWS console management. I'm in Virginia region. So first thing first, like I said, I will deploy in RDS. So for that, just type in RDS and click on this. We will create a database. This is an Amazon RDS. We will keep it standard create. We will choose MySQL. And then we would make sure you have selected the version. I'll just leave it the default one. And then I would scroll down to do you want it as production, dev test, or free tier? You can use free tier. I'm just going to keep it as dev test. I have some credits, so I can use those. You can use both. You can use all three of them, but I'm just using this one just an FYI. Name of the database is, I would say, WordPress. And for login, I would just say test admin. Password you can auto generate. I would just say test it. And we'll use bustable class for what type of database it should be. So I'm just gonna 3.3 micro. I will take it medium, just a little faster for it to work. Uh, for hard drive, I'll just keep it general purpose SSD. 20 GB is fine. And then auto scaling, you can select auto scaling for storage if you want to, 100 GB maximum threshold. The availability zone, at this point, I'm just going to leave it do not create standby, but in coming maybe 10-15 minutes, we'll just change it to multi-AZ later. That's the exercise for me to show you how we can change it. Okay, so VPC, I just left it as default. We don't need to create another one. This is not a network, like I would say subnet group default. Public access, I left it as no. RDS will not assign a public IP address to the database, which is what we need. We're going to access that database through EC2 machine. Security group, I would just create a security group. So let's say if we want to create a security group, default additional configuration. If you want to, you can create a security group, but I will make some changes next in the next couple of minutes from here. Additional configuration, again, you want to make sure you click on this additional configuration, because sometimes you just don't you forget to put in the name of the database, and that's where you have issues. So make sure you have the database name. Backup, I would just keep it to 1 day, because we want to do a read replica. Because if we don't do read replica backup, if we not enable the backup, read replica will not be available for you. So you need to go back and modify the database. It takes time. So I'm just going to do it right now. No preferences. Encryption, I don't need that right now. And then retention period, I don't need it anyways. Monitoring, I can leave it the way it is. Enable automatic version. And then maintenance window, no preferences. This is the cost of the database, and I will hit create. Once that is submitted, I'm just going to go and type in EC2, and we will install an EC2 machine. So the database is deploying, it is creating. So I'll leave this alone. We'll come here in EC2. This is our EC2 dashboard. I will come here and I will launch an instance. We'll use Amazon Linux 2, just the first one. Select T2 Micro. This is a free tier. You can use that. I am going to do a 3 medium. It's a little faster. One instance, VPC default, no subnet gateway. There's no default gate subnet, so you can be any subnets. And we make sure that we enable the subnet settings so that auto assign IP address is available when the machine is ready. Rest is, we'll keep it the same way. I can hit enable CloudWatch to make sure I get logs, but right now I'll just go next. Volume tag, I would say 1. Next, we will create a key pair. So for key pair, just type in WordPress KP. We'll add some, actually this should be just my IP, so I can just log in from my IP. Over here we will assign traffic. So for that we'll just HTTP, and that will be 8080, so that we can once we deploy the WordPress site, you should be able to see it through that HTTP. Click review and click, did I download the key pair? I did, so I will go launch. Why would it say, so go back. Okay, let's do this again. KP download. Save, launch instance, and it is now deploying the machine. It is on East F1F. I'll just copy the IP, let it load. Okay, so IP, it's still happening. I'm going to open up my mobile Extreme. I'll add the session to this is I'm remoting into the EC2 machine, EC2 user, and then load the private key. I would have it here. Click OK. And that's it. I'm logged into EC2 machine there. All right, so the next step is to basically, I would say, log into first sudo su clear, and then what we'll do is we'll just go to our EC2 machine. We want to make sure that this is still taking time. Go here. It is creating WordPress, so that's fine, but it does have an endpoint here, so we're going to use this endpoint to set up our EC2. Once that is done, this is the database that we created, right? Remember, we had a security group which was default, so we want to restrict that default so that all traffic doesn't. All traffic means that any traffic which is SQL, like 3.3, I think the port needs to be changed. So I would click here. All traffic coming through this source can be good to go. We're going to change it to Aurora. So basically the default security group allows inbound traffic for other instance and default security group. So what we're going to do is we'll change the type to SQL, so which will only update the protocol of port range of SQL, which is 3306. And then we'll make sure that instead of doing that, we're just going to do a security group of the WordPress. So we'll just use the security group of the WordPress, which is we had any traffic that is coming in. We can use this. Save. So if I go up here, and then if I look at security, you can see 80 and 22. All right, so that is done. We're going to come back here. We will, once we logged into we already are logged in, so we don't need to set up the permission. Sudo yum install unattended. Yeah, it means that no message. You can hit yes to that message. MS SQL. Sorry, MySQL. Okay, so SQL is installed. I would export my SQL. I'm logging into I'm basically defining this EC2 machine, the path for the SQL. For that, we need to go here, RDS. This is where I'm going to get the endpoint, and we'll go add it to the EC2 machine. Copy this, go back here, type in here, hit enter. So what's going to happen is basically MySQL host, we want to make sure we replace the endpoint of the MySQL port, and then we're going to log into MySQL. So MySQL user equal to test admin, and then password equal to the same thing. I would say on WordPress database. So it's just telling me that's MySQL user test admin, password is test admin, and you can have more secure password, you can keep it. There you go. So it is now, let me log into that RDS, which is I created into the database. So I'm already logged in. Now what we'll do is I'll actually create permission. So I will create a permission. So I would say create user first, WordPress. FIED by I would say password would be test admin. You can have any different password. It doesn't have to be, you know, this. Actually, let's do this. Test admin, so that I can remember the password later. Aborted this. Okay, I'm going to log in one more time. Okay, so let's do one more time. Yes. Export host equal to, okay, and then all right, so we're logged in again. We'll just create another user. I will create a username WordPress and a different effort for password. I can give a different password if I need to. And then that row is created. I'll grant the privilege to WordPress, and I will flush the privilege. And then I will exit. Good. So that is done. Set up the WordPress database, connected the database with the EC2 machine. The next step is we'll install Apache on it. So sudo yum install -y httpd. Okay, Apache is installed. Sudo service httpd start. So Apache services httpd start, and it started the service. So go back here, EC2, we'll go here, copy this, and we'll just paste here to see if the Apache is working. So the website is working now. That's perfect. Now the next thing is to make sure that we want to make sure that it is working. So we'll install WordPress now. So for WordPress, I think it was wget https. I've done this a couple of times, so I remember the path now. latest.tr.gz, and then we'll basically, if I do ls, you can see that file is already there. Now we're gonna unzip it. Okay, just one more time. Done. Okay, now if I do ls install, so there is a WordPress file. So clear this out. cd WordPress ls. So now all the WordPress files are in there. Now we will actually configure the sample file. So this is the sample file. So I would say copy wp config sample.php and wp-config-php. So this sample, it goes to in that file, wp-config. Okay, so hit enter. And then once that is done, what we'll do is we'll actually try to nano it, edit the config file, config.php, sorry, php, and that is also not showing up. Config wp-config. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Sorry about that. So I actually did a dash here instead of php. So let's do this .php, and then we would just do a nano. Now that is okay. So once that is done, I need to update these tables. So database name, it's a typical WordPress installation, so you can find it anywhere. WordPress user was WordPress. Password, I think it was WordPress pass. And then localhost, I need to go back to my console RDS and then copy this localhost. Go back here, and I will just go here. Copy this, scroll down. Everything looks good. Now we need to make sure we have the secure key. So if you see, you can generate these using the link HTTP API WordPress secret, and it will give you all the links. So once that happens, you know, I can replace this. So I'm going to create a link. Let's see if I can. I'm going to use my other screen. So if I wanna show you, let's show you there here. So Google, and then I say WordPress salt password. You know, this is the place where you're gonna come in. So this API WordPress is actually the same thing what they got, API WordPress secret key. So if I click here, it will generate these key. I would just copy this and I would paste that over there. So that's what it was. We'll just replace everything in here. That's it. We just replaced it. I want to make sure that it's aligned. It doesn't really matter, but X, yes, save it, enter, and then we are good to go for our next step is to install, to configure our WordPress. So one thing what we're going to do is to download the WordPress. I use the notes to download the WordPress, so I can leave the link over there as well. And then we want to make sure that we copy the WordPress file to var sum. So copy WordPress file into this var.w. This is the HTML block. This is a file where htdoc are there as well. So this is where the file for Apache is. So basically this is, if you, this page, the index.html file is in this location. So I'm just copying everything from WordPress to here so that it is readable next time when we reload the service. So I would say sudo service httpd restart. That's it, we're done. So we click here, we reload, and we should see a WordPress installed here. That's perfect. So that's it. What we'll do is we would just say Hamad Siddiqui, username, I would say test admin, I would say test admin. So test admin installed. Oh, email address. Yeah, we need to make sure we have that email address. So I would say gmail.com, confirm the password, installed, and we have the test admin password. So now we're logged in to our, I would say test admin. Password is test admin. That's what we did. And we are logged into our WordPress website. So that's it. If I want to show you how it looks, we can just copy this here. This is typical WordPress stuff. So, you know, you can see hello Hamad Siddiqui and this and that. You can change themes to WordPress if you want to. You can pick any of those. These are free ones. So let's do this. Let's customize this one and activate, and you know, create a website, and you know, you can change the dashes, all the detail of the website, and I would hit publish. Once that is published, we have a working website. So if I refresh this here, you say create your own website with blog, and these are all the JP images that are in there. So, you know, the WordPress site is perfectly deployed. Now we go back here. One more thing is we'll just system CTL enable HTTPD. And now what's going to happen is every time the machine reboots, I don't have to automatically by default, this service doesn't start for like for HTTPD. But once I did that enable, so it will basically automatically restart after the reboot. Okay, so this is done. So next thing is what we'll do is we will go back to our EC2. So this is now working EC2. We will do a we can do a restart just to make sure, you know. If I do restart, it will stop working. Yeah. So once it comes back, I'm going to take an image of that image, take an image of this, and then we'll log back in. I think it came back up because it was too quick. Okay, while this is restarting, I'm going to show you one more thing. So this is our database. Remember, we said it is in it's a single AZ. You can see that multi-AZ is no. So we will now change that into like, you know, in multi-AZ. So we'll have this deployed into another availability zone. Now the machine is back up because the reason it came back up right away because it's a bigger machine and a faster machine. Usually if you do a T2 micro, then, you know, just forget it. It's not going to happen. And it load up really just fine. You can change it to whatever you like. Activate and publish. And it would just, okay. Anyways, let's get here. Select the machine, action, image and template, create an image. I would say img wp and WordPress image. You don't need to reboot, no need to add volume, no need to have tag. We'll just keep it same. Click create image. And then what you're going to do is you will come back here into AMI. And this is taking image. So we will wait for it to be ready, and then I will come right back up. All right, guys, so the image is ready. As you can see, it is available. And so go back to our notes. All I said was I did install EC2 and WordPress on it and connect it to database. Once made sure that database is connected to EC2 and WordPress is working, I took a snapshot right now. Next thing is we will create another WordPress machine. We'll add them to a load balancer. That load balancer endpoint will go to Route 53, and then we will have a higher available website to work with. So again, go back here, select launch. Pretty much the same thing. We're gonna go quickly on this. Medium. Next. Same thing. Make sure we have the same default. You can have, like, once you create your own VPC, you can work through it. I just kept it default. Next. I'll make sure that enable. Okay, yeah. Next. Add a tag. Next. Select it. We'll just keep it at WordPress. Next. And we'll use the same keep here. Launch. And we have another machine that is going to start running soon. So click here. It is a fast machine, so I'm just going to copy this and see if this came back up. So this is 7371 and this is 168. That is done, and you can see the website is running on the 168. Load balancer. Application load balancer. Select all the availability zone. We don't know escalator. Next. Next. Security group. Next. Target group. I say WPALBTG. Instance. Port 80. Health check. Next. Now we have two machines running, P1 and P2. We'll just add and click new view, and then we will create a load balancer. Click OK, and it is provisioning now. Alright, so the load balancer is deployed. We'll copy this and we'll try to test it out. And you can see it's just pushing me over here. That's good. We'll go back here. We'll go to Route 53. We have one hosted zone. We'll just use this one for now. We'll create a record. I would say WordPress. WordPress. This is fine. WPress. And then we'll just use as a CNAME for route traffic to another domain name and some AWS resources. Endpoint, we are going to be using, let's do this here, and we would say application load balancer. We would say we are in East, I think Virginia, and then we have this one here as a load balancer. Create record. It created a record. Now we have this one, so we copy this as a record, paste, and then this is the website that is running, and you know the IP is showing up because it's still as showing up as private, sorry, public. Anyways, so we added this. This is good. Now go back to here. So we added the Route 53 and the application load in here. Now what we'll do next thing is to enable multi-AZ. So now we're moving our focus to more like towards RDS. So let's click here. This is only in one region, that is 1D. So we will hit modify. And then say read replica. Actually, we're just gonna leave it like this, not this one. We want to make sure we select multi-AZ here, standby, and everything stays the same. Continue. I would say apply immediately. We don't need a change window, and we will modify the DB. So now it's modifying the DB, and eventually this will now show up as multi-AZ would be a yes. Right now it's no because we deployed it. I'm going to pause the video and I will come back once this is done. Alright guys, welcome back. So it took a couple of minutes, let's say 5 or 6 minutes, to make it available after the modifying, and you can see now it is available in multi-AZ. So if I click here, it should show me 2 zones. 1D. Okay, 1D. Alright, so I am going to reboot this once that is done. Reboot. Confirm. And then once this comes back up, we're going to create a snapshot out of it and replica, and then use that replica in another domain. Alright, it came back up, so I'm just going to check whether the website is still working. Yep, it is working. So that's it, we're done with that. I'm just going to go back to RDS, and then I will select this, hit modify or action, take a snapshot, or actually I don't want to take the snapshot, I want to do the create a replica. Same thing. Replica, everything is going to be same. T3 mighty. We can public expert, no, same default. And encryption, we don't have to encrypt. Just going to keep it as simple as possible. And hit create replica. And then you can see there is they have started creating another database, which is a replica of this database. You can see this modifying, and CPU utilization is 4%, which is high right now, and this is not a multi-AZ right now. So if I go here and I look at monitor, we should see some spike here. You can see this CPU utilization and DB connection, 2 times we connected. IOPS. You can go further, drill down, or you can go to CloudWatch and do a detailed metrics. This is a metric where, you know, all the Datadogs can pull the metrics from, and you know, it works just fine. I have a lab coming up for Datadog as well. Hopefully in a couple of weeks I will show you that as well. You can see all the logs. Backup monitoring changed. Alright, so this is still gonna take some time. I am going to pause the video and I come back right back up. Alright guys, welcome back. So as you can see, we created a replica of the database, and then it actually was in 1D, and now it created a replica on 1A, and it is available and it's all good to go per our notes. If you look here, we created 2 replicas. One is in one zone and then another one is in the AZ2. What we'll do is we'll promote this one to be a master. So we come here and action and promote. Once you promote, backup retention, I would just leave it for automatic backup. Promote, we'll hit promote, and now it's gonna go into modifying. Once this is done, what we'll do is we'll actually go to try to shut down or reboot this with a failover so that it would come up to this database and the website's still working. I think it was one. Yep, the website is still working. So go back here, still modifying. Alright guys, so it is now promoted to master. So I would just select this one and I would reboot, and I will reboot with failover. So once I hit confirm, the website should stop working and it would eventually move to the other zone. So you can see it's starting to circle, spin here, so it probably will not work. But the instance, I'm just doing instance, I'm not doing the endpoint, but you can see it is rebooting and obviously the website is not working. And since we have promoted into a different RDS, this should pull up after the reboot. Okay, yeah, you can see the work, it's starting to come back up. It's still rebooting and it is available. So guys, now if you go back here, so exercise was to create a database, take a snapshot, and then reboot, and then create a replica into a different zone. Well, basically I did availability first, change it to multi-AZ, and then take a replica and then use that replica to launch it to another one. And over here it says update route with you already have the point what I'm trying to do. So that will be it for the exercise. Basically, to recap, we had RDS, we installed WordPress on an EC2 machine. We took a snapshot, we ran it on 2 different websites, we load balanced it, and then another exercise was to do RDS, where we created an RDS, used the same RDS instance, and basically changed it to multi-AZ, took a copy, read replica, and then promote that into another one, and website is still working. That will be it. Hope you really enjoyed this lab. It was a good lab. I really enjoyed it. Hope you like them, and don't forget to hit that like, and until next time, have a great day.